Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pendant. Calling this one the Ace of Spades. Got a different one for you this week. There's a list in the description below of everything you'll need, including all my links as usual. To make this pendant you'll need 0.8mm wire, that's 20 gauge, and I've cut 4 lengths at 11 inches, that's 28 centimetres. The weaving wire is 0.315mm, that's 28 gauge, and you'll need about 300 centimetres. I've wound mine onto a bobbin. These are Bobeeze by Beadsmith, and they're actually really handy because they stop the wire from flailing about. I've put a link in the description below if you want to check those out. You'll need a Jumpring, that's 10mm outside measurement, and some little beads. Mine are 3mm, and I've got 2. But I've got a rough design in my head, and I do make a lot of it up as I go along, so I may use a few more beads than that. I haven't decided yet. Tools, I've got my pliers, wire cutters, round nose pliers, nylon pliers. All of these tools there are links to in the description below, so if you're thinking of buying any of the tools that I use, those are affiliate links, so please buy through my links. And if you just want to have a look at what tools I'm using, all the links are in the description below, as well as a list of all these things are there as well. So we're going to start 4 inches from the beginning of the wires, that's 10 centimetres. So we're going to start, take your weaving wire, we're going to start with 3 wraps around that bottom wire. And then we'll go around the bottom 2 wires, and we'll do that twice. Come up between those bottom 2 wires, and we'll go around the next 2 wires. Keep bending my wires. And then up between the bottom 2. So we're going around the middle 2 wires twice. Come up between the middle, the second and third wire, straight over the top, so we're going around the top 2 wires twice. Come up between the bottom 2 wires, so we're going to go around those middle 2 wires, and we'll do that twice, and then come underneath the bottom wire, over the second wire. So we're wrapping around those 2 again. So now we've got a zigzag, weave, and we'll keep repeating that. I'll go through that again with you. So we go between those bottom 2 wires. And we're going to wrap around the middle 2 wires. So we go over the third, come up between the bottom 2, and then over the third again. Come up between those 2 wires and straight over the top. Between those middle 2 wires again, straight over the top. And come up between the bottom 2 wires, over the third. So we're wrapping around those middle 2 wires. And we do that again. Under the bottom, over the second wire. So we wrap around those bottom 2 wires again. So push your weave together as you go. We'll keep repeating that. So I've done 27 repeats of that weave, and you have to keep pushing it together as you go, and it tends to slide along the wire, so you need to keep checking at the beginning to make sure that your beginning wires that you have started at 4 inches, mine slid along here, so I've had to slide it all back down. So we've got 4 inches from the beginning, then we got our weave, and the weave is about 2.5 inches if you don't fancy counting all those repeats. So push your weave together as tight as you can, and we got about 2.5 inches of that. And what I like to do when we've done a nice weave, you can see how it sits now. I like to go over it with my nylon pliers, and what I do is I just squash it all down nice. And it just makes it just sit nice against the wires, nice and flat. Just makes it look more even. I've got a little crossover in the middle. I need to lose this tail at the beginning. And at the end here, just to secure the weave, we need to wrap 3 times around that bottom wire to hold it all in place. And cut that wire as well. So now we're going to bend our weave. So starting in the middle, we're going to put a gentle curve. We want to get it as round as possible. Keep making sure that the weaves are compressed together. And we need to add a jumpring, so I think it's probably best to add the jumpring while the wires are all together at the top. So I'm going to pop all these wires through the jumpring. Makes it a bit easier than trying to bend them through it in a bit. So we've got a nice circle shape. Like that. And now I'm going to bend these wires back on this side, and these wires back on this side. And we want the jumpring to sit upright, so it's facing forward. Bring the wires down to the back. You don't want them to cross over really, so try and keep them nice and tidy next to each other. Mine are trying to cross over there. So I've just tweaked that a little bit, made sure the jumpring is nice and flat, and I've just corrected this to be a bit more circular. To hold it in place, we can secure it more by taking the top wire and taking that through the ring, but just hold it nice in place. Pull it nice and tight. Got the edge of my Jumpring there. It's probably best to use a Jumpring that isn't, you know, cut, that's continuous. So that secures it, going through it on that one side, and do it on the other side as well. So that's what we've got so far. So I'm just going to straighten this wire a bit more, because posting it back through the ring has made it a bit wobbly. You can do this with your fingers if you don't have the nylon pliers. So now I've got 4 wires coming out one side, 4 out the other. I need to make sure they haven't crossed over each other. So starting with the wires on the right, I'm going to pull this one down out the way a little. I'm going to scoop this one up out the way for now. And we're just going to work across these middle 2 wires. Take your weaving wire and we'll wrap 3 times around the bottom wire, so just working across the 2. Slide that down into place there. And then we'll go twice around both wires, pushing it all together, and then I'm going to go 5 times around that bottom wire. And then around both wires, we'll do that twice. So the repeat is 5 times around the bottom wire and then twice around both wires. And we'll repeat that about 5 times. So I've got 5 repeats of that. And snip that tail off now. You can find reach the end of it. So I've got 5 repeats, 4, 5, and the little bit we did at the beginning that's going to go around the back. And then we curve that over. Like that. Then we take this bottom wire that we push down out of the way. I'm going to scoop that up to follow. So we bring it around, and I want to pop a bead on there. Take one of the 3mm beads from before. So that sits like that. And now we're going to weave across the 3 wires. So we'll come up between the bottom 2. But you can do whatever weave you like across these 3. And I'm going to go around the top 2 wires. the bottom wire and around those bottom 2 wires, and then I'm going to wrap around the bottom wire 5 times. Makes a bit of a change from all the normal standard weaves that we do something a bit interesting. So we go around the bottom 2 wires twice, come up between those bottom 2 wires, go around the top 2 wires twice, under the bottom wire, then around the bottom 2 wires twice, and then 5 times around that bottom wire. So we're going to repeat that weave, and we need to repeat it for some way because we want this weave to come round here, and we're going to do the same then on the other side. And can I just say, while I'm remembering, thanks to everybody for following my tutorials and then sharing all of your beautiful work on Facebook, and thank you to everybody for mentioning me, because that's my main thing that I want to drive everybody over to here, to my YouTube channel, to come and have a look at all these tutorials that I am giving to you guys for free. And I really appreciate everybody making the work and then sharing it online. A Kelly Jones design is all I ask that you put anywhere on your description, a Kelly Jones design, just so people can come and find my channel and make the tutorials as well, make the jewellery as well if they want to. And when you are sharing your work, please don't post any pictures of the back, because that does tend to give the design away. So thanks to everybody in advance. So I've done 9 repeats of that little weave. I'm pulling it away a bit because I like to flatten the weave with my nylon pliers. And keep compressing your weave together as well as you go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to curve that around. Like that. I'm going to cut my weaving wire, but I'm going to leave a little length on there. Just need to wind a little bit off my bobbin. I'm going to leave about 1 metre. A bit less, just a bit less than 1 metre. I'm going to bend these wires so they go through the middle. So the weave comes out and around, and then it turns quite sharply around the bottom of the weave, and it goes straight down like that. And while it's in this position, I'm just going to straighten those wires a little. And the weaving wire needs to be posted through there as well. Got myself in a knot. So the weaving wire will be at the back ready to start weaving onto those. And I'm going to take this last wire here and go back to my original wire that's on my bobbin. And I'm going to add coils to this single wire. If you don't want to add coils, you don't have to. You could just leave it bare I just think it adds a bit of a different thing. Adds a bit of depth to it. So I'm going to add coils for quite a way. I like to weave coil near the edge because it's a lot easier to wrap it around, and then we can slide it down into place in a minute. So I just want to thank everybody as well for subscribing. I've recently hit 12,200 subscribers, which is fantastic. And I wanted to say thanks to all you guys for following me and supporting me on this little learning journey. And the wire wrapping is fantastic, not only for your, you know, all the rewards you get from your jewellery, but it's so lovely to make, and it is so relaxing. And you know, when you're having a hard day, you can always sit down and make something beautiful, and it really does help you get through your days if you're having a hard time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this around to follow that weave. So I need to add more coils. So I've added more coils and I've pushed it right the way down so it sits right against that ring there. And I've done about 3.5 centimetres of coils. Like I said, if you don't want to do coils, you can just leave it there. And I'm going to bend this wire around to follow that weave. Like that. Oh, grabbing the wrong wire now. So it follows the weave, and then when it gets to here, I'm going to come over the weave. And now I'm going to follow the outside of the weave, so I've crossed across the weave there. So as the wire comes down here, I'm going to need to secure it down. I'm going to cut my weaving wire again so I can post it through the middle. I've left quite a short length on there now. So I'm going to post my weaving wire through from the back, because I want to hold that in place next to that weave. So it's come through the back, and then I'm going to post it between the weaves. So my dog made me jump. And I'm going to push that up a bit. So it's wrapped around the back weave like that. That's it, and then I'm going to come at the front of the weave. So we need to pull it nice and tight so it holds it quite tight against that weave, and then I'm going to continue adding coils. So I've kept adding more coils to that wire. And I'm going to trail it around to follow the weave, and then I'm going to post it through to follow the rest. So I need to add a little bit more coil just so it can go through there. So I've added enough coils now, that should go through. I'm going to cut the wire off now because it'll be easier to do. So I'm going to take that wire, post it through the middle, and then I'm going to line that up to sit next to it, like that. There we go. So I've changed it a little bit. Instead of this weave coming over and going through there, I've just curved it back over the weave and sent it down that side, just to add a bit of shape to that side. And now I'm going to do all this to the other side, so it all flows down on this side as well. So we're now working on the other 4 wires, and I think we're going to need more weaving wire, so I'm going to have to change that figure at the beginning. We're going to weave across the middle 2 wires. So we need to bend these 2 out of the way for now. Always try and put a gentle bend in the wire, because you don't want any sharp bends in there. And now we're going to wrap 3 times around the top wire, because we're doing everything in a reverse, an opposite sort of position to the other side, a mirror image. So we do 3 wraps around the top wire. Get that in place. And then we want 2 wraps around both wires. We can see that. Then we're going to go 5 wraps around the top wire. And then 2 wraps around both wires, and that's our repeat. So we do 5 wraps around the top wire, 2 wraps around both wires, and we're going to repeat that, so we've got a total of 5 repeats. So I've got 5 repeats. Need to lose that tail end. I can get to it. So tricky because it's gone around the back. So now we need to do what we did on this side in reverse. So we need to go, push that one to the back a bit. We need to go around and over to the front, like we did with that one, like that. And then we take this bottom wire, and we're going to bring that one around to follow, and add that other 3mm bead. And I want that to stay there. So that wire goes around like that. So now we've got the 3 wires coming out together. Not quite happy with that bend there. So now we've got the 3 wires. I'm getting all my weaving wires tied up here. So now we need to go across the 3 and do the weave that we did on the other side. So now we're working upside down, so we go twice around the bottom 2 wires and up in between those 2 wires. Then we go around the top 2 wires. Really need to push that along a bit. And then we're going to go 5 times around the top wire. So that's our repeat. So we now go twice around the top 2, twice around the bottom 2, twice around the top 2, and then we wrap 5 times around this top wire. So I've got 9 repeats of that. I just pulled it away a little bit so I can flatten it down. So now we need to copy the shape of the other side. It scoops out to here, and then it scoops in about there. And then it folds straight over to the back. So I need to cut that weaving wire off. I'll leave a short length on there. I've left quite a long length on there. So trying to keep the wires next to each other because you don't want them to cross over. Just going to bend that through to the back, and I'm holding that weave in place so that I don't misshape it too much. And we don't want these wires to cross over each other, like mine are trying to. So it's got to come up to there. And press it flat, like that. And I need to post that weaving wire through too. So I can carry on weaving those wires at the bottom. They're a lot shorter than the other ones. Like I say, I've got an idea of what I'm going to do with this design, but I do always do it a little bit different as soon as I'm sat here behind the camera. So we've got all our wires coming straight out the bottom now, apart from that one that's still up there. I don't think I'm going to use all this weaving wire down here. I think I'm going to do a few things with some bare wire. So I'm going to take one of these lengths that I've left. And I'm going to steal that to coil this. So I'm now going to add coils to this wire, as we did for the other one. And then I'm going to follow the weave around and attach it like we did on the other side, and do everything the same as we did for the other side. Try and make a mirror image on that side. If you don't like doing a mirror image, if you find that you're a bit too much of a perfectionist and to try and do it the same, it would look odd. If you want to do it slightly different, then you can. You could have this side scooping out, and you could have this side also going around and going out. You could have all these wires following all these wires if you wanted to. So I'm going to say all pop out the bottom, and then I'll show you the next part of the design. So I've done the same on this side, fed it over, crossed over the weave. Here I went around the back weave once, carried on adding coils until I got to the bottom, and then fed it up over to cross over the weave again there. So we've kind of got the symmetrical thing going on. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut these wires off, and I'm going to just bend them over the weave and finish them off because they're a bit too short to do anything with those two. I'm cutting them first because they just need to tuck behind and press against the weave, so I need to guess how much I need really. So little bits like that, and then I'm going to bend that straight over, and I'm going to tuck it behind everything and squeeze it down, and I'll do the same for this side too. So now we're left with all these lovely wires coming out the bottom. I've got 6 and 1 long piece of weaving wire. So I'm going to take the 2 outer wires, holding it firmly at the back in place. I'm going to scoop it around. Like that. And I'm going to post it through the ring. Straighten it back out. So these 2 wires come out to the side a little and then scoop around like that. I think I'm going to lose that weaving wire. I've changed my mind about that. I was going to weave all these wires, but I think it would be too much now. I'm going to take these 2 outer wires and I'm going to do the same as what I did there. I'll pull them out to the side, try and hold them in place, and I'm going to bend them around. It's not easy to do because you're not leaning on anything. If there was a weave or a stone, then it would be easier to bend, and you want to bend them so that they're similar, so they look similar, and you haven't got a big one and a little one. And then I'm going to post those through, so I'm holding the bottom so I don't misshape it too much. Pop them through the middle of the ring. Got mine caught in my jumpring, I think. Focus on the shape at the bottom. You want that right, and then hold that in place. Try and straighten these wires out a bit. And then these 2, central them up a little bit. They're going to come straight over, through the middle, straighten them up again as soon as they're through. One going on one side and one going on the other. So we've got like this fan effect going up the middle. Just pushing it down at the bottom there. And I'm just going to have a little tweak with this until they're all pretty much how I want them to be. I think that's more or less it. That was the idea I had in mind. So I'm now going to cut each of these wires, and like we did with this one, I'm just going to bend them over the weave to secure them to the weave, making sure the wires are all straight how I want them to be first. So we haven't really adjusted it much at all. I'm quite pleased with that. So I'm just going to trim these wires now. So they've got a little bit of length to go over the weave. Cut them all about the same. And then I'm going to bend each of these around to go straight over that weave, but under that weave there. So they go like that. And I'll do that with all of those. So there it is, I've folded them all over. And I forgot to mention we're going to need another jump ring to be able to attach a cord to that. So I've got another 10mm jump ring. I'll put it through there. I've joined that very well, have I? That's a bit better. Just so you've got something to put your cord through, or your chain, or whatever you're using. So I'll have to add that at the beginning. So there we go. Another little pendant for you, something a bit different. A bit different today. And I hope you found this tutorial easy to follow. And I do try and answer all of your questions in the comments below if you've got any questions. And please do come and share your finished work on Facebook, I'd love to see it. I'll put a link to my Facebook page on the screen and below in the description. Pop on over to Facebook and share your finished work. I would absolutely love to see work that you've made from my tutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye.